Summer routines live or die by how easy they are, and honestly, if something takes too much effort, I'm out. That's why Groons is my go-to. It's my one daily pack of gummies covering my greens, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, it has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is more than 2 cups of broccoli. No mixing powders, no giant pills, no hassle. I just rip open the pack and I'm done. They taste good and they make it easy to stay on top of my health, even when life gets busy. Save up to 52% with the code PODCAST at Groons.co. That's code PODCAST at GRUNS.co.
It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 219. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to our podcast. This week, we're recapping the Gopher football spring game with former Gopher great Darrell Thompson. We'll get DT's outlook on the 2026 University of Minnesota football team. Spring ball just wrapping up, and there's a lot to discuss. He and I did the radio broadcast, and we'll recap. We'll also hear a special request from Darrell on how you can make a meaningful impact in the community through his outstanding organization, Boulder Options. More on that coming up, so stay tuned. We'll issue a challenge shortly. Our Go Gopher podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry, don't worry, Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. Shop happy. The Go Gopher podcast is also presented by OnX Maps. Find out how to download the OnX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. We're podcasting episode 219 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe or follow the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to the Go Gopher Podcast from previous weeks. Last episode, for example, we heard from Gopher women's gymnastics coach Jenny Hansen on their great Final Four finish, and Gopher men's golf coach Justin Smith. Both were outstanding, as you would guess. Go back and have a listen. This week, we're talking Golden Gopher football with the great Darrell Thompson. He'll tell us all about the Gopher football spring game and tell us about a special need for Boulder Options coming up.
Hey Gopher fans, Jalen Crocker-Johnson here from Minnesota men's basketball. In basketball, wins come from preparation, trust, and executing when it matters the most. That's how True North Mergers and Acquisitions approaches selling your businesses. True North M&A is a local alumni-owned company and a proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics, helping businesses of all sizes make winning moves. Thinking about selling? True North's M&A helps maximize your life's work and close strong in crunch time. Visit tnma.com for confidential conversation.
This is Jim Suhan for TSR Injury Law, 612-TSR-TIME. TSR Injury Law started off as a small business. They are now a large, very successful business because they help people, because they win cases. If you are injured, call 612-TSR-TIME. They will help you out or point you in the right direction. They will not charge you unless they win your case, and they win a lot of cases. We don't want you to need their help. They don't want you to need their help. But if you do need their help, call 612-TSR-TIME.
Episode 219, and the great Darrell Thompson is with us, former Gopher running back, my broadcast partner on Gopher Radio. Always a great day when you get to spend a little time with DT. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Well, we got to spend some time a couple weeks ago for the football spring game, and we're going to certainly talk about that. You're now 30-plus years with Boulder Options. We want to hit on that. We're going to issue a little challenge to our podcast listeners and Gopher fans and sports fans in general a little later on to help you out at a time when Boulder Options, right now can can use the help, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a challenging time in our city and our state, but our families are resilient, our staff's resilient. So yeah, we'll get to that. That's our little tease, right?
That's our little tease. Stick around for the challenge that DT and the Grimm are going to issue to our Gopher fans and sports fans here. But let's talk Gopher football. That's the Go Gopher podcast is about Gopher sports, so we want to do that. You and I broadcast the spring game along with JG and Tanner and the whole gang. And what was your impression when you left Huntington Bank Stadium in regard to what you saw on that Saturday, April the 25th?
Well, a couple things. Mike, I was really impressed with our quarterback play. We had a couple young quarterbacks that came in and played, really well.
Yeah.
Chicken Jassy came in and played well. The other backup quarterback, he came in, played well, saw the field, moved the ball around the field. And then I thought, as I was replaying the game in my mind, I thought that we looked better, looked more athletic in our linebackers and in the secondary, and that we moved. We had a couple interceptions. I saw some speed. I saw some explosiveness. I saw some new depth in the secondary that I've not seen for a little while. And then up front with the defensive line, and it's difficult to tell. So it's you against you. So you don't know, you're kind of arm wrestling yourself. But I did feel like there were some strides made. I think there might be some, hopefully, we know we have, Smith, our big guy up front. We have a couple other guys, but I feel like there's some more depth up front. And we'll have to see how the offensive line comes and evolves. They might have taken maybe a little bit of a step back last year, but I look for them to take a step forward this year. And obviously, Darius is coming back, and there was a couple young backs that played well.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to see and interesting to see how things come.
Yeah, I think, too, when you look at it, a lot of people talk about, well, it was pretty vanilla. They didn't do much. They didn't blitz a lot. That said, they also didn't just hand the ball off. There was a lot of passing, which I liked. You mentioned Owen Lansu, the backup, the true freshman. He threw some darts out there. I thought that was impressive. I don't know if that is an indicator of things to come in relation to the game plan. I know this is going to still probably be a run-first program. It always will be. But the fact that they threw caution to the wind and barely handed the ball off, I thought that was an interesting way in spring training. They ran a few trick plays, too. Nothing that vanilla about it.
Well, I don't think it was vanilla at all. I don't think, blitzing is not, that's to catch someone off balance and see who's going to pick people up and things like that and really kind of get home. But you really get to see how people pick people up when they do, have that opportunity, when they do, rush the passer. And the other thing, we got to see some young receivers, some young receivers and a couple new receivers coming. You talked about Lansing. He did a great job in the game. So I do feel like there's more there than that we've had in the past. And I do think that the way they played the spring game was also wise. It was aggressive. It was fun to watch. Handing the ball off, 50 times during a spring game, nobody really wants to watch that.
Yeah.
So, to throw the ball around, you're just calling pass plays. It's not really that much different than calling a run play. You just hope it works.
Yeah.
And I don't think everyone kind of still runs like the same plays. You can Minnesota, Ohio State, Texas, Alabama. You throw the ball, someone's going to slant, they're going to post, they're going to go. That's it. And can you put the ball on the guy?
Yeah, and I thought there was some fun to that. And Drake Lindsey hit a bomb early to one of the transfers, Noah Jennings, the transfer out of Cincinnati. And I think if there's one thing – there's many things certainly as a coaching staff I'm sure they're looking at here now as they head into summer workouts. Here's where we got to get better and all that. If I could pick two things, the biggest thing to me will be O-line play.
Right.
How good can they develop? I agree with you. I thought they probably took a step back last year. They didn't block very well, particularly maybe on that right side at times. And if you're a program that wants to run the football the way Minnesota does, if you don't have really good blocking up front, it's hard to do what you want to do. Yet they win 8 games. They win a bowl game. They beat Wisconsin. They kill Nebraska. Those things all, I thought, made it a fairly successful year last year. And then I think the other thing offensively is explosives. Last year, it's just hard to win games if you're just relying on 11 and 12 play drives because you're going to nickel and dime them to death. God bless them. You don't want to be risky. I get it. You don't want to turn the ball over. But in Big Ten play, man, and it's single, one score games back and forth with Minnesota, to ask a team to say, to get to 24 points, you need 4, 11, or 12. You need a drive or two in there where you hit a 40-yard pass, where you pop a 50-yard run.
I think that, Mike, is where Coach Fleck has changed. I mean, I think he's evolved. He's realizing how the game is evolving. You have to be a little bit more aggressive and put the ball in the air more. And I've been impressed, the last few years. Obviously with our quarterback now, I can't believe his name, with the Vikings.
Max Brosman.
Yeah, Max. With Max was the beginning of it, and I think we didn't get lulled to sleep, but Muhammad Ibrahim was a tremendous running back, and to just continue to hand the ball off to him, it worked. But in this game today with Max and with Drake, we were just seeing the evolution of being able to put the ball in the air more. You're still going to hand the ball off. I would imagine Darius is going to run the ball at a minimum, 20 to hopefully 25 times a game, and hopefully that's it. That's enough, because they're going to throw him the ball as well. He's one of the better backs out of the backfield, and he is extremely elusive in the open field.
Yeah, and I agree. I think the volume of throwing has to go up, particularly because they love the quarterback, and we know he's got a great arm. But I think in addition to that, you also have to make some distance plays, some explosives. It can't be the quick passing game's good, and I think it looks to me at times like Drake Lindsey's better in that quick passing game and a short passing game. But at some point, you got to have a 50-yard gain in a game. You got to have a 48-yard pass play. You got to hand it off to Darius and let him pop one for 32 yards. Right. You get 5-6 of those plays, and it changes the whole tenor of the game. It's just to me, it's hard to rely on just 12 play drives at 4 yards a pop and think you're going to get 4 or 5 of those in a game.
No, I agree 100%. I think we saw that evolution with Max and even more with Drake last year. And I think watching this spring game was probably the most exciting thing. It's like spring games are not super exciting because you're keeping score, but you're not really keeping score. So you just want to do well, and you want to see people excel. You want to see some guys step up, and we saw that. We saw some receivers step up. We saw a couple nice interceptions, guys reading the quarterback's eyes, stepping in front, picking balls off. So I think it was the right way to play the game, to be aggressive, to have a little bit more fun with it.
Yeah, so those are two big things. O-line, you've got returning starters. Greg Johnson didn't play in the spring. He's recovering from some surgery. He's probably the best lineman. He's the guy that Pro Football Focus says is going to get drafted next year at this time and all that stuff. And then you've got Nathan Roy, who bona fide Big Ten left tackle, right? I mean, he was honorable mention all conference and a redshirt freshman. I mean, this kid is going to be here for a long time. That's good. Ashton Beers, I should say, acquitted himself well at center. The right side, we'll see how that all shakes out and where it goes. So if that turns into something good, this team, I think, can be really good. Defensive line is not it's not a weakness per se. I think it's a question mark because all these guys are going to be playing for the first time, whether it's the young guys like Sunrum or whether it's the transfers from Marshall and what have you. We just don't know what they're going to do when the real game starts. And if they're good, this team can be pretty gosh darn good.
I think they're going to be pretty good. I'm excited about them. I think the ability to watch someone play at maybe just a tad bit lower level with the strength conditioning, the mental game, that the way games are played now, and our coach's ability to evaluate talent. I think we'll be fine up front. I think particularly on defense. Offense is always a little bit more of a challenge. I think it's harder with offense and with offensive linemen, and they don't seem to leave quite as much. They seem to kind of stick around, where defense and running backs and receivers and especially particular quarterbacks, they can be sought after and they can be gone.
Yeah, and I should rephrase it. When I say D-line, I'm talking the interior, the tackles, where there's we don't know much. I actually think on the flip side, the ends, the edges, that's the strength of the team, period. You've got Anthony Smith, probably your best football player, guy who can be a first-round pick. You've got Carter Menz, who has just flashed enough to where you're excited every time he goes on the field. You've got Howard, who is back and returning. And then you've got the transfer from Cal, who I think everyone's excited about and who has an opportunity to be
that's what you want.
TJ Bush we're talking about.
You really want to have that depth. When you think about TJ Bush and you think about Howard, obviously Anthony Smith is a phenomenal player in men's. And men's just came on last year, and you could see, they're like, you can stay out there.
Yeah.
Let Anthony actually get 2 plays off or 3 plays off every once in a while. You don't got to run him back out there as soon as he gets a drink of water, and that makes your defense stronger when you can really platoon, and particularly your defensive ends and interior defensive linemen.
Kicking game and return game, right? That's absolute question mark. There's a chase for the kicking job with returner Daniel Jackson, who didn't play last year. He's going to be a redshirt freshman this spring. And then Beckham Sunderland, who was at Texas State and then at Michigan. He was Michigan's kickoff guy last year.
Yeah.
Attempted 1 punt, but no kicks. Both those guys have strong legs. We saw that. It makes a difference. We saw when you had Dragan Kesich, what a difference it makes when the offense, when you know you're hitting the 35-yard line, you've got a chance for points. And then last year, not as much, not a knock on anyone involved. It just wasn't there. And if that kicking game rounds into form, obviously that's going to help. But to me, that's a question mark heading in because not a knock on these guys. They haven't seen the bullets fly yet when the pressure's on.
They have not seen the bullets fly. And I think, Mike, that is one piece where you talk about you need to have the lights on to see if it's going to work or not. Like last year, guys can make field goals in practice, and they can make them when nobody's out there, and then the lights come on, and it just kind of gets shanked. The crowd gets there, so it is that. And even with the return game, you don't really know if a guy can return a punt or a kickoff until he returns a punt, especially now with the rules and the contact at practice. So you're not really letting people.
You don't know.
Have too much contact. So that's fine. It's good. That's safe. But also you don't know if someone's the ability to make somebody miss, and we'll find out, in September.
Yeah, and with no Coy Parrish, who's basically for now the last 2 seasons been your return guy on kicks and punts. Obviously, he's gone, so you need someone to take that spot. And you forget a little bit how that hidden yardage can factor in when you get a nice kick return out to the 40. That's different than starting at the 20 or the 18 or what have you. If you get a nice punt return, and in some cases, in Minnesota's case, even just going up and fair catching a punt, not letting it bounce 16 yards past you, those kind of things, those hidden yards in single possession games can matter.
Oh, they can matter a lot. When you talk about, and we've kind of not joked about it, ball bounces 15, 16, sometimes 20 or 25 yards. Then you get into that drive and you get to the 50, we would have been at the 35.
Yeah.
And it gets it's different play calling. It's a different excitement. It means you could potentially be kicking a field goal or going for it on 4th down, which I wouldn't be surprised to see us go for it more on 4th down. That just seems to be the trend of the way that the football is evolving and changing.
Yeah. Some other strengths now. We talked about maybe some question marks. I mentioned the D ends. I think the edge, the rush ends, those guys are a strength. I think even with the loss of Parrish, I like this safeties group when you think about Kerry Brown, who, if it's not Anthony Smith, Kerry Brown's probably your next best player. I know John Nestor's good. There's going to be guys that are going to be fighting it out for who's best on there. But Kerry Brown has been versatile. He's played the slot. He's played the safety. And then you got other guys back there that, first of all, you've got Aiden Gooseby, who knows whether he'll be a safety or a cornerback. He didn't play this spring, so I got to believe he'll be on the field at some point. And then you've got Garrison Monroe, Zach Harden, who they really like, Trayson Richardson, who flashed. And then how about this Parker Knutson from Southwest Minnesota State? He was all over the field in the spring game, a D2 guy. He was 13 picks in the last 2 years.
He might have been my favorite guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy just literally has a nose. I didn't know him before I got in the stadium. I didn't know him until probably 10 or 15 minutes into the game, but has a nose for the ball, plays really smart, and just really, really impressed me. And I think it's tough. You need as many people in the secondary. You need 6 or 7 guys back there.
Right.
I mean, between the injuries and all the different formations and, the tight ends and the 4 wide receivers and the back coming out of the backfield, that nickel package and that dollar package where you will have just one linebacker in there, something like that, really makes the game different. So you need a minimum of 6 defensive backs, whether it's a safety, a corner, or a slot corner, or whatever that might be.
And I do think they have some guys that can be versatile too, as you mentioned, playing that, over the years. I think it really started with Chris Williamson, that 19 team, where you kind of got that monster position. Jack Henderson played that role some. Last year it varied. Darius Green was in that role. Sometimes Kerry Brown moved to that role depending on the situation. I think this is a group that when you talk about Gooseby and Monroe and Richardson and Knutson and there are others, Brown can move around back there, that there's a chance. And you might even see a Carmo, right? And a linebacker who might move into that on certain downs, into that monster.
Well, that's another young man that played well during the season, for a true freshman. And as he gets better as he puts just a little bit more weight on. And also just there's knowledge that comes with time and with seeing things and with repetitions. And it feels like to me that he's really starting to get things figured out. So I'm excited about him actually quite a bit. I don't even know exactly what position he is. You're right. He's kind of that defensive end hybrid, maybe cover a tight end out of the backfield. But he's the type of guy to me you want to have near the line of scrimmage and put pressure on the quarterback and cover the flats.
Exactly. I mean, passing downs especially because he can do so much. He's fast enough to cover a tight end, as you mentioned. He's fast enough maybe to stick with a receiver long enough if you run a certain blitz. But he also, on a 3rd and 10, can blitz from there and be a factor. Or if it's a draw play, he can stick his nose in and make a tackle. I mean, you got to like that guy.
I mean, that's what we saw last year from him, and he got dinged two times. He actually got twisted up a little bit in the spring game as well, but I think that he's got a bright future.
Had a pick,
Yeah. Got a bright future. He's athletic. He's smart. He's strong, and that's what you're looking for in that position.
You mentioned the running backs. Obviously, the other DT, Darius Taylor, didn't play in the spring game. Watched him a little bit in practice. He is who he is. I mean, that guy is good. He's good out of the backfield catching the ball. Mohamed Ibrahim had a couple of interesting comments about how they're really trying to get him to not always try to hit home runs. Hey, go hit a single. So on a 1st and 10 handoff, don't I mean, yes, would you love a 52-yard touchdown like you saw against Wisconsin or whatever it was, 48, of course, but not at the risk of maybe losing 4 yards looking for that hole. Mo was probably the best I've seen in a Gopher uniform. Of course, I watched you, but I wasn't paying attention.
It was different.
But he'd pound in and take 4 yards.
Yeah.
And I think he told us he put a sign up on the running back room, 4 + 4 + 4 = first down.
Right.
And I think that's the point. And Taylor might be I love the kid. He can do everything. He's power, he's speed, he can catch. But maybe he is best suited at times to say, listen, go get the 4 yards and don't risk trying to hit the home run if it means it might be 2nd and 12 instead of 2nd and 7.
I mean, I think what Mo's probably trying to make that point is some early decisions. As a young back, especially when you're extremely fast, like Darius is, you're going to bounce it, you're going to cut it back, you're going to do all these things. Actually, I need you to take someone on. I need you to go get me this yards that's guaranteed so that you don't get twisted up and knocked down and not pick up the yards you can. Because you're right, 4-4-4 is a first down.
Yeah, we've got a young running back coming in from El Paso, Texas, Ryan Estrada, who everyone's excited about. He'll be enrolling next month in summer school, and we'll get a look at him. Jerron Thomas, transfer from Purdue. We saw him in the spring game. T.J. Thomas was the guy catching some of those punts and kicks, transfer from Elon. Xavier Ford, Grant Washington. And then remember, A.J. Turner was the speed merchant, as we like to call him, from Marshall, who tore his knee up last year in that Cal game. I forgot, I was thinking back about that Cal game. I forgot Darius didn't play in that game, and then remember Turner tore up his knee. That left Femi Ijiboy basically the running back along with Cam Davis, and they just couldn't find much of a running game that night. But there's some depth there. I'm eager to see what number 2, what number 3 running backs look like as the fall camp progresses.
I'm very much looking forward to it. I also have my eye on Grant Washington. I think he's talented. He's got great vision, and I think he just needs more time. And I feel like under Mohamed, he's going to get what he needs just educationally because he's probably somewhat similar. And we all come out of high school. Every running backs, receivers. You were just the fastest guy, like in the school, on the field. And then you get in college, you're like, the fastest guy that was on the field is on the other side, probably at least 5 or 6 positions. So you have to be a little bit more patient. You have to take what they give you, and you have to take advantage of things that happen in smaller spaces. So I feel like when Darius learns that, when Grant learns that, they'll be even better backs.
One of the things at Minnesota, it's not an unlimited budget, like it might be at a Michigan or an Oklahoma or USC and Alabama and some of these places that have, Texas. They're talking Michigan's coach this week, Ty Whittingham's, what's the guy's name from Utah who took that job, Willingham.
Oh, yeah.
Willingham, He commented that he thinks we're within a year or two of some program having a $50 million payroll, which obviously the Gophers won't have that. So you have to do some things to be competitive, to compete with those folks. One of them is going and strategically getting good transfers, spending some money there, spending some money on Anthony Smith to come back and hopefully lead the Big Ten in sacks again, but also develop. guys that you recruited out of high school, and you hope they turn into an Anthony Smith, where they have potential. You see the raw physical tools, and then they stay for 5 years. And I think that linebacking group right now, we saw Nate Cleveland have, 1 million tackles in that spring game. And then you've got guys like Ethan Stendel, Mason Carrier, part of that young group. Obviously, Baranowski is going to be leading those guys. I just thought there was a group of guys there. Cleveland is in that group. Stendel, Cleveland, Carrier, Kingsbury, who we've seen. I mean, that to me is an impressive-looking group. Carmel. I didn't forget.
Yeah, Carmel as well as it's Cleveland and a lot of the rest of them. But I think it is when you look at like recruiting, high school recruiting, and the portal and the young men that come from the Dakotas or the eastern states or Mankato State, someone that's really, really excelled at that level and says, I just want to give it my shot. Then you have some guys that might come from a higher division program that you're going to take a chance on as well. So I feel like that's the piece that's probably shrunk down on, high school recruiting might be down maybe 50%. And for basketball, it might be down like 90%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. It's hard to bank a whole roster in basketball from just high school recruits. You're just not going to win with freshmen anymore. So,
you just look at even like what Indiana did. I mean, I think the average age on their team was I want to say like almost 23, and that's an old person for a football player. But it also means they've seen a lot.
Yeah,
they've been a lot of meetings. They've been through a lot of winter conditionings. They've been in a lot of film rooms. They're not going to get fooled by the quarterback's eyes and a little bit of trickery up front. They're going to stay home, take a good angle to the ball, and make a play. And I think that's exactly what the Hoosiers have done.
Yeah, and experience counts. Like you know what to expect. So those young linebackers now, they're not as expensive right now, so you hope you develop them. And sometimes you got to turn them into players.
Yeah.
And then when they're players, you hope they like it enough to stay and not, jump for the money. That's how you build a program at Minnesota when you are on a non-unlimited budget, right? You need a couple of those guys to turn into all Big Ten linebackers, and if they are, you're going to be pretty dang good.
Well, you want some blue collar guys, guys that are going to be, that they may not be the biggest, the fastest, and the strongest, but they are hopefully they're smart, they're tough, they take good angles to the ball, and they can make plays, and you can win like that. We see it all the time. You see it in like the Wisconsins, the Iowas, the Minnesotas, and you have superstars as well. They're always great to sprinkle in, but we're probably not going to get 11 of them.
Yeah, and you just have to develop. Brockington, Lemecki, leading receiver last year, catch-wise, yards-wise. He is out, obviously graduated. Javon Tracy, Jalen Smith, the top 2 returners. And then we mentioned Noah Jennings had a nice spring game. I thought others showed some moxie as well, including Zion Steptoe from Purdue and Tulsa. We saw Hayden Moore, the true freshman, have a couple of nice plays as well. So the receiver spot, I think, while it's kind of a question mark, I think that can be a place that Drake Lindsey can rely on with some durable pass catchers.
I don't think it's really that much of a question mark after watching the spring game and also watching where Drake's ball placement is. He does a really good job of putting the ball on the receiver, not making him get stretched out, and that gives him confidence too that he's not going to hurt anybody. But that receiving core look good. They look good, running across the middle. They look good on the deep balls, and I think they'll be very, very good this year.
I looked it up this morning before we recorded. The Vegas over-under for wins for Minnesota is 5.5, which on the surface to me sounds a little light given they've basically won 7, 8, or 9 almost every year under P.J. Fleck. Then I look at the schedule and I say, in my mind, there are 5 games where you'll be a favorite right now on paper, 4 games where you'll be an underdog, and 2 or 3 games that are coin toss games. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, maybe 5.5's the number. Mississippi State at home, that's an SEC team for the first time ever coming to Huntington Bank Stadium.
Right.
The Gophers, I count that as one of the 5 they'll be favored in, but that's no bargain. That's no picnic.
That's a tough team.
Then you're at Washington to open Big Ten play, absolute underdog.
Right.
Home against Michigan, absolute underdog. You're home against Iowa. I tend to think you're probably an underdog there, although I'm not sold on the quarterback situation at Iowa. So I put that in the toss-up camp, one, because it's at home as well. But that's not a huge – you have 2 non-conference games, Eastern Illinois and Akron, that you hope you're going to get that.
Yeah.
Then you're at Wisconsin. I don't care. It's a rivalry game. If they have a healthy quarterback for the first time under Luke Fickell, who knows what happens. You're on the road. I kind of maybe a
And
toss-up.
I think Luke's due to get things figured out there. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's a very good coach. He's very
proven,
smart. He's trying
yeah.
to change the culture and what they do there, asking offensive linemen to do things that they've not done at Wisconsin in the history of their program. So it's going to take a while, or he'll be gone. But I do think that he's
And if your quarterback gets hurt every year, it's hard to win anyway.
That's very true. You
Right?
gotta have
It
a
just
quarterback.
is. At Indiana, the reigning champs.
Okay.
They're not going away. And at Penn State is on that schedule.
Yeah.
Your home UCLA, they're recruiting like a banshee right now. Like it's incredible what they're doing with their new coach. Northwestern at home, they beat you last year.
Yeah.
So 5.5 might be about right. That said, this team can be better than last year and maybe not win 8. I think they'll win. I'd say 7, 8. If you get to 9, it'd be great.
That would be incredible.
It's a hard league, though. It's a hard schedule, harder than last year.
It's a hard league, and when you look at that 5.5, and when you said that earlier, I was like, we're going to win more than that. But when you start to rattle off those games and having, Michigan, Indiana, at Indiana. So
5 years ago, if you said at Indiana, you're like absolute favorite in that one.
Yeah.
Well, now at Indiana, you're a dog, and then they're the defending national champ.
Yeah.
Think
that's
about that.
One of the greatest stories in the history of college football.
Yeah, it's crazy. So they're going to have some things go their way. They got to develop some guys. I would take the over. We don't bet, but if I were to have to put my hard-earned money on the line, which is I don't like to do.
No, we know you like to hold on to the
Yes, hold on to every little bit. What little bit I got, I better keep because it ain't a lot.
Yeah.
I would bet the over. I'd feel comfortable with the over. I think they'll win 8, but you look at that schedule. If a couple things go wrong or you got the wrong guy injured, 5 I think's in play.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. I think it's good. But I do feel like with our quarterback, receiving core, the overall depth around, but I do think that our schedule is going to be a challenge this year. So it'll be, if we can get to that 6 or 7 wins, we might consider that success this year, which we wouldn't in the past.
Yeah, that road you're at Washington. That's one of the hard. They have a long winning streak at home. That's a hard place to play. It's one of the loudest places in the country. At Indiana, national champs. At Penn State, we've haven't had a lot of success. Tough place to play. And at Wisconsin in a rivalry game the last weekend of the year, who knows where either team is at that point. So there's a few toughies. At Purdue, you're going to probably be favored there, but again, we've been to some games in West Lafayette.
You just don't know. That place seems like win, lose, or draw. When that little horn, that Boilermaker, everything kind of gets rolling in that place, it can be that's a difficult place to play.
Well, Thursday night, September 3rd, is the season opener. Eastern Illinois, the Gophers will be favored in that. Tickets are available, season tickets right now, at gophersports.com. Darrell Thompson and I are looking forward to chatting with all of you on the radio when the fall hits. Right now, I want to talk about one of our sponsors here of the Go Gopher Podcast. My pleasure always to talk about OnX Fish. It's time to once again get out on the water and hit the fish. For the best bite, use OnX Fish from OnX Maps. OnX Fish is your pre-trip cheat code. Before you even pull the boat out of the garage and onto the water, you can sort by lake, species, trophy, and keeper potential, so you're not guessing. When you hit the water, you have a plan. Spring means new water as well, so don't waste a trip. Use OnX Fish to filter for walleye, bass, panfish, whatever you're chasing, and see species, abundance, and size data so you can actually know what's on the lake before you even launch the boat. Download OnX Fish on the App Store or visit onxmaps.com/fish. Spring fishing is here. Go find the lake you've been driving past for years and finally find out if it's worth the launch. OnX Fish from OnX Maps.
Know what the happiest bird is? Chicken. Cub fried chicken. Wait, let me rephrase that. Know what bird makes people happiest? Cub fried chicken. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, perfectly seasoned. It's the kind of chicken that disappears faster than you can say, 8-piece, please. Or, let's be real, maybe 12-piece. Because when it comes to fried chicken, more just means more happy. So if you're shopping chicken, shop Cub fried chicken and shop happy.
Hey Gopher fans, Bobby Durkin here from Minnesota men's basketball. In our program, championship culture is built on toughness, trust, and showing up every day to do the work. That's why I'm proud to support the True North family of companies. True North invests in elite teams, like the championship team at True North Mergers and Acquisitions, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and their family of independently owned companies, visit thetruenorthfamily.com. That's how champions are built.
All right, let's talk Boulder options. Near and dear to your heart, Darrell Thompson. 30-plus years now you've been running that organization. It's become a family affair, too, which I think is so cool for you and your family. But for those, I mean, I'm sure people have heard us talk about it. For those that have maybe heard it as just background noise, let's talk about what Boulder Options is and what it means to you.
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you bringing me on. Obviously talking about Gopher football, but also talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is Boulder Options. And we are a youth program working with 10 to 14-year-old youth. We match them with a mentor. They're going to run with them, bike with them, do homework with them. And really, we've evolved from just running and biking. Now we're doing activities, so it could be ice fishing, it could be camping, it could be yoga, it could be Zumba, it can be kickball, it can be, playing in the park with the Frisbees. It can be, we want to get kids out from in front of their phones, out from in front of screens, out from in front of TV and Netflix and all those pieces to get out, get some fresh air, get some movement and some exercise, and get some of that positive energy and momentum going. And we set goals with them. So we'll set one physical goal, one educational goal, and then one goal that they arrive at on their own with their mentor over the course of the first month or month and a half in the program. And setting goals for all of us is important. I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you learn that you have to take steps to reach those goals. And once that our young people set and start to reach some goals, they realize that they can reach those goals in any facet. And probably we had just a wonderful tear-jerking story. We had a young lady in our program that came in, didn't talk to anyone, always frustrated. We did an activity and she would kind of like leave and didn't really want to be there. And then last weekend we were doing a gardening event. And her evolution now, she was talking, she's become one of the leaders. Her mentor and is like, calling saying, I can't believe the change in this young lady. So the opportunity, and when somebody takes the time to pour into a young lady or a young man, then you can see the difference over the course of, it's a minimum of a year, but we've had young people that have been involved with us for 25, sometimes 30 years. I had a young man that came by the building about a month ago that was in the program when I was a coordinator, which was about 29 years ago. And the first thing he said was, "Hey, you remember my mentor?" He said his name, and I was like, actually, I do. And he said, well, I want to get reconnected to him. I want to tell him that he made an impact on me. He said, you were a mentor, and my mentor was my other mentor, and I want to reconnect with him. And I want to find him. So that's one of the things we're working on. We didn't have hardly anything back then. 29 years ago, we didn't have a database. We didn't have all the modern technology. Cell phones were still like car phones. So it was a different time. But this young man came back, remembered his mentor, and wanted to reconnect with him.
Wow. And in terms of who you're helping, take us through how you find out about young kids who might need help, might need an adult in their life that can help guide them through physical activity and mentor them, and as you mentioned, in some cases, be the difference maker.
I mean, they get to us, they get referred from the social workers and counselors again and again. The age of our youth it's young. The average age of a young lady or young man who gets referred to us is 11 years old. And that is a point of trajectory, a point where you just said, am I going to smoke cigarettes under the bridge and kind of hang out and do negative things, or am I going to go to basketball practice, go to track practice, join the chess club, get involved in some after-school activity, do my homework? I mean, there's so much to just kind of the basic skills of handshakes, eye contact, doing your homework. And then they realize that not only we're feeding into them, other people will start to feed into them too once they say, oh, Darrell turned in his homework. Hey, how's it going, Darrell? Hey, how's the family? Hey, you're going for a bike ride this weekend? Or, but if you don't turn your homework in, then you kind of get that negative stink eye. They're just dealing with you. You just become one of the numbers. So our goal always is to get them connected to, that positive adult role model.
And normally when they come in, you mentioned it's a year that they come in, and they have you guys are able to match them with a mentor. And that year, it can be longer than a year, but it's a year, and that year can be life-changing. You've already referenced, one or two. We've been to the gala before where you've had, former mentees and mentors talk about the connection that has been made. As a mentor, what kind of things? Okay, so you're going on a bike ride, or you play catch with them in the football field, or shoot baskets, or heck, take them to a Twins game, even if it maybe doesn't necessarily involve physical activity, but there's time spent showing that young person's important. What's the key to connection? How is that accomplished?
I mean, for us, it's meeting them where they're at. our program coordinator is going to take them out and say, we're going to sit down, talk to you about, this Mike, Darrell, make that introduction, figure out what day of the week is going to make work for you guys to meet. And then we send out, it's like a calendar. So we're going to say, hey, we got a biking activity, we got a running activity, we got a event at the building, we have nutrition nights, so we might be cooking food, we have planting day, we're going to be planting things on the outside, we have cleanup day, we're going to do some other things around the building, maybe helping out and doing different things. So it is a menu of opportunities. And we have, we're doing a 5K race on this weekend, we're doing maybe a 10 or 15 mile bike ride, or we're going to meet at the building and go for a bike ride on our own. So it's just bombarding them with as many healthy and fun activities around a positive group of people that cares about them, and they leave. We usually have at least some type of some snacks, some food, so that the young lady or young man doesn't come home kind of hungry and wanting to all fired up. So it's just as much positive energy, activity, and modeling as possible.
So with that as the backdrop, that brings us to our challenge right here and right now for Gopher fans, sports fans, Darrell Thompson fans, fans of helping, fans that want to have an impact. And You've had an impact now for these 30 years. But right now you're having a shortage of mentors, right? You have plenty of kids who need the help, not enough adults who either have the time or even know about it. I mean, this isn't casting blame on anybody. Some might not know about it. Some may not have time. We understand that. But if you're an adult right now listening and you think this might be up your alley, it might find you some purpose as well, right? I mean, it sometimes helps a mentor as much as the mentee at certain times. We'll issue the challenge, and we're not asking for 100 people to come be mentors, although you'd take that.
Yep.
What if we could get 5 or 6 that, thousands of people listen to this, I think. 5, 6, 8 of those folks, 10 of those folks, right? 10 Gopher fans helping Darrell Thompson help someone.
And this is also in
huge,
Rochester.
Right?
This
and
is
in
also
Rochester
in
as well.
So we have the Twin Cities, we have Rochester in the first and second ring suburbs. So if we were to get between 5 and 10 mentors to come on here in the next, before the middle of June, we would be elated. And we've had that. We've had some great shots in the arm from, being on KFan and being our social media. But the number one place we get them is from a mentor that reaches out and says, hey, they bring a buddy along. Or for, it can be on this podcast, it can be on KFan, wherever that opportunity is for them to get involved. It makes an impact. What
makes an ideal mentor? So if there's an adult listening saying, boy, I'm not sure. It sounds like I'd love to help, but I'm not sure. Talk them off that and into you can do.
I mean, everyone's capable. We're going to give you the handbook. You're going to have someone who's going to give you personal support, and there's actually probably even more than one person on the staff. And sometimes it's the staff, sometimes it's myself, sometimes it's our chief operating officer. We're going to help you make sure that this relationship can be successful, can be fun, and there really isn't anyone that can't be a mentor. We're just looking for people that we're willing to take. We're looking for basically one afternoon a week over the course of a year. And we understand there's birthdays and weddings and snowstorms and holidays and things like that. So it might end up being 40 or 45 out of 50. But we can work with that. And you have a chance to really make a difference. And also it's something that you think you're going to be doing more for the young man or young lady, and you're doing just as much for yourself.
Yeah, right. And I know you've had stories too where someone's been a mentor for a year, and that's great, right? And then, okay, I'm going to take a year or two off. They'll come back, right? They'll hook up with another mentee 3, 4, 5 years. I think you were mentioning to me sometime recently that you had someone that was maybe 10 or 12 years later came back and said, I need to do this again.
Yeah, we have had that. We've had people that have come back 10 or 15 years later. We have people that have taken maybe 4 or 5 months off, and they come back and say, you know what? I'm ready to be a mentor again. We have people that have done it as many 5 times is the record for someone being a mentor, and that person now is they've been a board member, they've been a committee member, but still talks to all 5 of her mentees.
Yeah. So if someone's interested, they're listening, saying, I think I can help Darrell Thompson out here. Again, if it's 10 people, great. If it's 5, you'd take it. Mm-hmm. If it's 100, you'd love it. Yeah. We know there's a need, and we'll talk about why there's more need now than ever. But if someone says, you know what, I'm at least going to inquire. I got to talk to Darrell about this, or someone at Boulder Options, how do they do that?
I'd go to boulderoptions.org. I mean, I think that's the simplest way. We got, there's little clips and videos. We're actually redoing the website right now, so they wouldn't be excited about me saying to go there. But that's where our information is. You want our phone number, you can look us up like online and see, you know what, this is someplace I want to be involved in. But you go to boulderoptions.org, and it's a great opportunity to see what we do in person. We have a blog that's there, tells some wonderful stories. We have our, the website, a couple little video clips on there. So you can really spend 10 or 15 minutes at our website. You can really get an understanding for the impact that we make.
And it's Boulder like bold print, BOLDER, not Boulder like Colorado. So boulderoptions.org.
Yes, there's no U in Boulder.
Yeah, exactly. So check the webpage out, reach out, help out Boulder Options. Why has it been tricky right now? It's an interesting time in America generally, but what about our landscape right now has made it a little harder to get mentors to step up?
Well, you're right, Mike, and I think a lot of the incidents that happened earlier this year were in South Minneapolis, and our office is in South Minneapolis. So people are kind of maybe hold up a little bit, and also maybe just kind of lost focus. So you're like, I do actually, every once in a while you do need to focus on yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, take care of your family. And that usually at the beginning of the year, people have New Year's resolutions. They said, I want to be a mentor. January is always National Mentoring Month. And during National Mentoring Month, we had a lot of tragedy, in South Minneapolis. So people just kind of hodgepodged around. We had we had everything else that was going on with the ICE agents and everything running around. But they're gone, and our kids need your help, and our community needs you, and now's a great time to get involved.
Yeah, boulderoptions.org for that. Over the years, how many, I know you at times have kept a total, how many kids have you guys impacted over your time here?
We're estimating over the last 30 years that it's over 10,000 youth that have been engaged with our program between our physical activity, the goal setting, the running, the biking, the speaking, the events. It's been, the impact has been large. Much larger than I ever thought when I got involved with it, 32 or 33 years ago.
Yeah. How did you get involved? Remind us that.
I was a volunteer. When I was playing ball, I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do when I got done, but I volunteered for the Minneapolis JC's Charitable Foundation, and Bill Steele, they had this little program called Boulder Options, and I went down there, and I was a speaker in the program 2 or 3 times on a Saturday morning when the kids were running around Lake of the Isles. And I came back about 2 years later, and I was done with football, and I started working there part-time. It's grown to a full-time position, and 31 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah, and now your daughter's involved too, and she's helping plan a lot of cool things, and I know that's got to be satisfying too, to know she's helping and having an impact just like her dad.
Yeah, she has a lot of responsibility. She's in charge of the golf tournament and the annual dinner. So she's she's got 3 kids and 1 on the way. So she's busy.
Grandpa Thompson.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have some events. The golf outing is always great. It's still Legends, right?
Yeah,
out
it's at Legends.
Prior Lake. And a few spots left, so you better get in now.
We got about 3 or 4 spots left on the 27th of this month out at Legends. It's a great track. You're going to get lunch, you're going to get dinner, and you're going to have a great time playing a great course and support an organization that's doing a lot in the community.
Yeah, and then you always have your annual gala. That's more in the fall.
That's
right?
in the fall. That'll be in September. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but that's also at our website as well.
Yeah, and tickets for that, and then there's auctions, and obviously right now we're talking mentors. Money is always needed as well, and those are the helpful events, the auctions, the golf outings that can help fund all of this. But right now, I think your main purpose with talking with us today is let's get 10 mentors. Let's get 10 Gopher fans to come and help these kids make a commitment for a year. For 10 would be unbelievable. Right?
10 would be unbelievable, but I think it's within the Gopher Nation to make that happen. We've had some great mentors come out of this community, out of the sports, the Gopher University of Minnesota connection. We have a lot of Gophers that have been mentors in our program and are mentors now, and a handful of our mentees are becoming Gophers as well.
You'd even sign an autograph for them if they did that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Who wouldn't want an autograph from Darrell Thompson? One of the cool things, too, I know you mentioned when I was on with you with the Power Trip a few visits ago, was over the course of time, you'll have mentors and mentees all kind of gather, not all of them together, but groups where you teach some life skills. You'll have a speaker come in. You'll have a career person come in. I'm trying to remember, you had what was it? Something about the elevator. There was some sort of a lesson there. Maybe you don't remember now, but those are the kind of things that are also part of this.
It's one of the most important things, Mike, and our board committed to it probably about a year and a half ago, and we've always done. We said, once you're in Boulder, you're always in Boulder. Like I talked about that young man that came back, was looking for his mentor and looking for myself at our office, and he just happened to be in the neighborhood, saw our van in the backyard, came in, talked to our chief operating officer. Then we get reconnected, and now we're all going to get together. So our board commits, we want to stay with these young people to their college and or career, which we've done in the past, but now it's an official and having our I Believe, I Achieve program. So when someone graduates a one-year program, they move into that program, and that allows them to everything from resume writing to elevator pitches. That might be what they're talking about.
That was what it was, yes.
So it's like learning how to make, here's what I want to do. I want to be a carpenter. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be in maybe 2 or 3 reasons why, and let it sit in that person. Hopefully they can figure out a way to help you.
Yeah, and I've told this story a lot, so people have heard it, but it again talks about the impact. You had your open house last spring, and I'm driving up, and there's a fire truck and an ambulance in front, and I'm worried. I'm like, oh man, what's happened? I mean, you don't want to say, thank goodness it wasn't anybody at Boulder Options, because it did impact somebody next door to your place. And we're standing there, and everyone's worried, and there's paramedics and firefighters, and they attend to this person, and it turns out that they're okay.
Right.
And then tell us about the firefighter who then walked over to you.
Well, it was interesting because we're just kind of looking like next door, and it doesn't happen where the fire department and ambulance comes that often. So everyone's supposed to just kind of out there checking on to make sure no one's like laying in the street or anything that we can do to help. And this firefighter keeps looking at myself and one of my coworkers. And then after everything settles down, he goes, "Hey, you're Darrell, right?" I said, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "Yeah, my name's Jesse. I was in the program." He was in the program before I was there.
Man.
So he was in the program over 30 years ago. And he remembered his mentor. He remembered our founder. He remembered Bill Steele, our founder, and we've been reconnected. He was able to come to our annual dinner last year. The firefighters, and I was actually talking to them this morning. They're going to come over on Friday and do some work, and now we're going to get some tours of the fire department, and it's just a wonderful,
that's awesome.
reconnection. So, you never know what's going to happen or who you're going to bump into, and to run into him, for him to run into us actually that day and just happen to be next door and see the sign that said Boulder Options and then come over and talk to us is huge.
It's amazing. And you think about, without the men, you don't know where the direction, the butterfly effect. He's now a positive influence on this community as a paramedic and firefighter and saving lives and fighting fires and all of this. And I'm sure a piece of him, because now he's reconnected, is saying, that helped guide me in the right way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it helped guide him in the right way. He also talked about the goal setting and that it was fun, and he got to do runs at that point. And we were a 3-month program, just like 33 years ago. So it was just a 3-month. You get a little gift certificate, then you're down the road. And now to be a 1 year and committed to being with the young people through college and/or career, but just even the mere fact that he was over there, he came back and talked about his mentor, the impact that the mentor had on him, and he remembered his mentor's name. This is over 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
It's a big impact.
It's a great story, and we always hear at the gala some amazing stories, both from mentors and mentees. And now you're at the point that you've mentored enough people. You have former mentees who are full-time employees of Boulder Options, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we do. That is something that we're proud of and excited about. And I remember Tatiana's her name. She was she was a mentee. We had a little tutoring program we did some work with, and she graduated from that program, graduated from our program, always stayed involved, did 3 internships with us.
Man.
And then our development director said, she'd be great if she was working here. We had to post a position, kind of go through the process, but she ended up getting the position, and she's growing. One of the goals is that she's in my seat one day.
Yeah. Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
BoulderOptions.org is the webpage. You've heard all about it, and it's just an awesome organization. Minneapolis area, Twin Cities, and then an office in your hometown of Rochester as well, which is making a great impact. So if you're a potential mentor, both in Rochester and in the Twin Cities, here's an opportunity at a time that Mr. Darrell Thompson is is asking for some help because they can sure use it right now, and there's kids who need the help.
We'd love to, Mike, and just continue to press on people's mind. If we get those 10 mentors here in the next 30 days, that would be awesome.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Gopher Nation. Let's get it done. BoulderOptions.org. DT, always a pleasure to spend time with you, my friend. It's not just a pleasure to call you a coworker, but to call you a good friend. And whenever I see the text or the phone ring and it says Darrell Thompson, a smile crosses my face.
I appreciate you, Mike, as well. Thank you very much. You're always a pleasure to work with.
There he is, Mr. Darrell Thompson, the Great Gopher, episode 219. My thanks to our great friend Darrell Thompson for joining me on the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm and for impacting the community in the way he does. It'd be great if you can impact the community as well by helping be a mentor with Boulder Options. Again, go to boulderoptions.org. Episode 219 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and proud to sponsor the Go Gopher Podcast. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. Shop happy. OnX Fish also sponsors our show, Happy Fishing from OnX Maps. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please be sure to click that subscribe or follow button right now to the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to follow, it's free to subscribe, and it's free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the podcast, let us know with some positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.
Know what happy is? Veggies. Crunchy, crispy, colorful, seasonal, aromatic, juicy veggies. Produce at its freshest. Cub produce. Best produce, period. Guaranteed to make you happy or will replace it. No questions asked. Because good produce makes veggie lovers happy. Just remember, fresh, happy. Stale, limp, and wilted, not happy. You want to make a veggie lover happy? Shop Cub for produce. And shop happy.